We are learning about new evidence which shows the Trump White House had a direct line to a rioter on the day of the insurrection. CBS News congressional correspondent Scott MacFarlane is in Washington with more on this. Scott, good morning.
Anne-Marie, Vlad, good morning to you. The committee is promising new revelations at its hearing Wednesday, but they're doing so at the same time as one of their committee investigators, one of their former investigators, has made strong allegations of an attempted coup on January 6th. The committee members haven't pushed back on any specific accusation by that former staffer, but they say he's been gone half a year and doesn't know the current status of the probe. Just 2 days out from the next January 6th committee hearing, former committee investigator Denver Riggleman has revealed this.
Do you get a real aha moment when you see that the White House switchboard had connected to a rioter's phone while it's happening? That's a pretty big aha moment. You get an aha.
Wait a minute. Someone in the White House was calling one of the rioters while the riot was going on?
On January 6th, absolutely.
And you know who both ends of that call?
I only know one end of that call. I don't know the White House end.
Riggleman says his team collected a tidal wave of thousands of texts and calls from Trump supporters on and ahead of January 6th, but only got a fraction of the funding he requested to look into the data. Members of the panel pushed back.
That's one of thousands of details that obviously the committee is aware of.
Arguing Riggleman, a one-time Republican congressman, departed the committee staff in April and has limited knowledge of the panel's investigation.
And without the advantage of the additional information we've gathered since he left the committee, you know, I think poses real risk to be suggesting things.
This weekend, members of the committee also leveled criticism at the Department of Justice for the pace of its investigation and for asking the committee for its records.
My first reaction when we got the request, turn over all your files to us, was, why don't you have your own damn files? Why haven't you been conducting your own investigation?
The committee's vice chair, Liz Cheney, says they have received hundreds of thousands of pages of communication by the U.S. Secret Service during that period around January 6th. The agency's response and interactions during those key moments could be a key part of the committee hearing Wednesday afternoon. Vlad, Anne-Marie.
All right, Scott. So the committee has been trying to talk to former House Speaker Newt Gingrich and Justice Clarence Thomas's wife, Ginny. What do we expect to hear about what they had to say at Wednesday's hearing? First of all, is Gingrich on the docket? Are they going to talk to him?
There are no witnesses listed so far in the announcement of this hearing, which raises the prospect there will be no witnesses and more of a presentation by the committee of more of their findings. So we're getting expectations here that there will be no actual Q&A or back and forth with witnesses there. It would be highly unlikely that an adversarial witness like Newt Gingrich, somebody who's kicked back at the committee, would sit for a public hearing and be part of any live, unscripted Q&A with the committee. So put that aside. We know the committee wants to talk to Newt Gingrich and that they have received confirmation they'll get an interview with Ginny Thomas, the wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. There's no expectation those interviews happen before Wednesday, but they will happen. At least the Thomas interview will happen before the committee wraps its work and issues its final report. And Vlad and Anne-Marie, the committee's been emphatic on this point. Their final report, their written report at the end of all this, is going to be the comprehensive findings of their work, for which an interview like that would be helpful.
So listen, what we heard from former Congressman and January 6th committee advisor, Denver Riggleman, was very, very interesting. But I think it also revealed the number of people working on this investigation and the number of people with access to information. And I wonder if this is becoming a challenge for the committee to keep this information confidential.
This is an unprecedented committee. It's an investigative committee of legislators and legislative staff. These are not typically the types of organizations that undertake unprecedented and large investigations. They have to keep their message and their discipline in keeping things from leaking out ahead of time. And they've done pretty good work at that. This is a unicorn, a committee unlike any before it. They have staff by the dozens. They have a former staffer who's chosen to speak, not a current staffer who's chosen to speak. Read into that what you might. But we have 9 different legislators, all of whom come from different areas with different backgrounds, who are trying to speak as one and remain choreographed and disciplined. And so far, more than a year into this, they've done pretty good work at keeping that discipline.
All right, Scott, thank you very much.